Hey guys, how's it going? It's Target here. Welcome to another edition of Target Talks. Now, it's been a long time since we've done one of these. It's actually been a long time since NHL 14. And so this is the first NHL 15 one. Can you believe it? It's already January. I know, that's really bad. You guys liked Target Talks, and I'm trying to bring it back. It's one of those videos where I have to find time for it. You know, I really do have to find time for it. But I hopefully have time now to be able to do it and get it out there for you guys and get it back up and running. We'll try to do it once, maybe twice, or probably, I want to go 3 to 4 times a month. So we'll see how things go. Maybe it'll only be twice a month, every other week. We'll see how things go, right? It's only what I can do. Now, before we get started, don't forget at the end or during, whichever you want, like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Comment down below with your questions, and you can also ask me on Twitter as well, at TargetOdd18. That's the best place to get a hold of me. Sorry, pardon me, I'm drinking pop, so a little burpy. Anyway, yeah, that's the best place to get a hold of me is on Twitter. I love interacting with you guys on Twitter, during the game, tweeting me funny stuff with NHL. I love it. Love to respond to you guys. I favorite and retweet you guys' tweets when they're funny. They have to be good, though. I'm not just going to tweet bullshit when you're hating on me. Sometimes I do because it's funny, but that's the best place to get a hold of me. So we're going to dive into some questions because I threw it out there on Twitter. There you go. It's usually the first place I go to. Looking for Target Talks questions. Now, for those of you that do want to submit a question on Twitter, make sure you use the hashtag Target Talks. Otherwise, I'm not gonna find you. I search by it on Twitter to find everything with that in there, with that hashtag. So I need that hashtag in there, Target Talks, okay? All right. Let's start with the first question from @thevikesbull53, and he says, "Is it a good idea to trade Hall?" And it says, "Or if you had to, who and what for?" All right, so we'll start with the first part of that question. Is it a good idea to trade Hall? Absolutely not. You take a look at what Boston got back in return from Seguin. I mean, the highlight of that one was Louis Eriksson. Look how well he's playing this year. And Tyler Seguin. I mean, any time that you deal 1 for 2, the team receiving the 1 is getting the best player. Plain and simple. The team receiving the 2 is getting 2 subpar players. And you need to add it up. Not only do you need to take a look at... but the cost per point basically is what you're gonna label that as, cost per point. So the salary hit that kid's gonna have, the salary he's gonna rake in. Is it worth those 2? Probably more than the one kid like Tyler Seguin, maybe around $6 million or whatever it is. And then you've got Louis Eriksson and a couple other guys that total probably about $7 or $8 million and produce much less than Seguin. You know what I mean? You got to balance it all out. Is it worth it? But for the most part, probably 9 times out of 10, the team that gets the 2 players is getting the shaft, even if they're prospects. I mean, the only time that you're not getting the shaft is if one of them's a first-round pick and that first-round pick ends up being a first overall pick. That's the only time you come out on top with that trade. Otherwise, it's a total sucker. Total suckle? Is that a word? It's not a word. But so the Vikes Bull, is it a good idea to trade Hall? No. If I had to trade Hall, who and what for? I'll tell you right now, trading Hall, you're not going to get anything better than Hall with Hall because nobody wants to get rid of their superstars. Nobody wants to get rid of them. You know, so if the Oilers are trading Taylor Hall, it's not to a team that wants to get rid of a player better than Hall, but it's going to be a team that wants to upgrade, and so they'll give you 2 or 3 pieces back in return for Taylor Hall. What would Taylor Hall gather? And some people are going, I've seen some of the dumbest shit online for what Taylor Hall is worth. Taylor Hall is worth a lot of money, guys, and he's worth a lot of picks, all right? He's worth a lot of prospects, whatever it is. People are saying Taylor Hall for Braden Coburn. Like, give me a break. Braden Coburn, get your head firmly out of your ass, give it a huge tug, and wake up, because there's no way that Taylor Hall is worth a second pairing defenseman at best. So Taylor Hall would be worth, and this is not just because I'm an Oilers fan. Taylor Hall would be worth 1 first round pick, a top prospect, and a current competitive NHL player. That's what it would take to get Taylor Hall out of Edmonton. Or it would have to be a team that's got too much talent in some position, like on defense or in goal. They'll be willing to deal. Because otherwise, the Oilers, if they're going to trade Hall, if I'm trading Hall, I'm trading for somebody better than Hall. I'm trading for Corey Perry. I'm trading for Alex Ovechkin. Stuff like that. That's the type of trades you make with big players. You throw in a first-round pick. Imagine Taylor Hall and a first-round pick going over to Tampa Bay for Steven Stamkos. Wouldn't happen. Right? They're not going to make that trade, but that's the type of value you're talking about. So that's not going to, they're not going to move Hall. The Oilers don't want to move Hall. And he's almost an immovable piece because of what teams would give up and what the Oilers want. It's not going to happen. It's not a good idea. He's the best player on the team, and you need to keep him. All right. Next one comes from @NucksForTheCup99. It's a two-parter here. I'm going to give it to you. For the most part, I'm going to try and stick to one-part questions. What inspired you to make YouTube videos? I don't really know. I think one of the major things is I have a sort of creative side of me that likes to not kind of dapple in things, you know? I have like creative edges, and I think if I don't actually express myself in some way, then it gets bottled up and I do weird, like I take on weird hobbies and then I never do them again. But then when I started doing YouTube and realizing that I could take my creative mind and apply it to this and try to produce videos that were a little bit higher quality, really pour myself into it and dedicate my time to it, that it was rewarding. And I found I love playing NHL. I always have. I play it almost all the time. When I have downtime and my wife's not home, I play NHL. Why? Because it's such a friggin' fun game. It really is. And I talk to people all the time about NHL and how great it is. And, you know, they just don't understand it. But, you know, then the same thing could be said. I don't understand the draw to Call of Duty. And you know why? Because I suck at it. Plain and simple. I'm good at the NHL videos or games, so I like to play them. So what inspired me to do YouTube videos? I don't know, just maybe watching people online. One of the first people that I ever watched play doing their videos was DanMan5000, who shut down. That was probably one of the earlier ones. He was probably the very first. And then I watched some Johnny Superman and stuff like that. But I wouldn't really say they inspired me, you know? I wouldn't say they really inspired me. I think that seeing other people do it made me feel like I could do it too, because I do have something that I can share. I know a lot about the game, and I came up with a ton of tutorials and things like that that really benefited the NHL community, probably for a better, and how to win faceoffs, things like that. I love doing that kind of thing, and although time-consuming, they're totally worth it, absolutely worth it. The second parter of his question is, who do you like most on the Canucks? Who do you like most on the Canucks? Well, it's definitely not Zach Cassian. That guy's a friggin' asshole. Eddie Lack, I would go with Eddie Lack. I love his character. I think he's hilarious. I don't necessarily like anybody else on the Canucks at all because I'm forced to hate them. Not forced to hate them. I hate them. I hate them. They're one of the cockiest teams in the NHL. I'm sorry, Canucks fans. There's so many of them out there. But I hate the Canucks. I hate the Sedins. I hate how everybody's going off about Radim Verbata like he's God's gift to the Canucks. He sucks. He's not that great of a player. He's a decent player, but he's not that great of a player. And I know coming from an Oiler fan, you guys are going, what the hell? You can't really judge. No, you're right, I can't judge. But I'll be the first to tell you that the Oilers fucking suck too. They really do. They don't know what to do. But the Canucks, hate him. Don't like anything about him, but I'd probably say Eddie Lack just because I like his personality. Pro Thunder asks, he's got a couple parters. I'm just going to go to one, though, because all his questions are kind of way off topic. Would you rather have Leon Draisaitl or Sam Bennett? Leon Draisaitl. I'm sorry. The Oilers need a player like Leon, and obviously he's back in Kelowna now. For those of you that aren't aware, we sent him back down to the WHL. He was supposed to go to Prince Albert, but they actually traded him to Kelowna with Josh Morrissey, and so Leon Draisaitl now went back to Kelowna and is doing really well down there. Versus Sam Bennett. Well, Sam Bennett's hurt, so I can't really compare. I can't take that into consideration. I haven't seen him play in the NHL yet, so I don't know what he brings. But Leon's a big frame. He plays the game as a big kid, and he's actually the fastest skater on the Oilers. People don't believe that. It's insane. I didn't believe it when I saw it, but they did their skills competition. It's really like two retards trying to hump a doorknob, but that's really inappropriate. I can't say things like that. But it's, you know, it's like the battle, like the one game that the Oilers are going to win is when they're playing inter-squad. That's the only time that they're going to win games. But Leon beat Taylor Hall in fastest skater. So the kid's got some wheels for a big boy. For a big boy, he's got some serious wheels. So I love Leon Draisaitl. Sam Bennett's a good player. He's scrappy and edgy. I'd love to have both, but I'd rather Leon. I think that he's just brings an element to the Oilers that Bennett just doesn't bring. You know, Bennett is sort of like your Andrew Shaw or your Brendan Gallagher, whereas Leon Draisaitl can be your Logan Couture or even your Joe Thornton. Like that type of player, a big framed player who plays a big game, has a very good skilled edge, and also is pretty fast. That's the type of guy that Oilers would need and absolutely desperately crave this year. Leon, unfortunately, down in the WHL, but that's okay. He'll get there eventually. So Leon Draisaitl is my vote on that, and that's not just because he's an Oiler. All right. GKE or GK Esquire asks, do you think Calgary will continue their surprisingly decent play deep into the season? Are you talking about as of late? Because you asked this question, I think. This is probably on the 3rd. The Flames were like starting their losing streak. In the beginning of the season, absolutely. I thought the Flames would maybe peter out a little bit, but not this badly. This has been pretty bad the last little while. It's unfortunate because if you had asked me this same question, 20 games into the season, I would have told you that there's no team that deserves to win the Stanley Cup more than the Calgary Flames. Yeah, and that's coming from an Oilers fan. I keep saying that, but I cannot stress how well that team was playing, and it was absolutely sheer grit and determination. That's what was getting their games won, and that's the kind of thing that you need from a team. That's the kind of thing that every team needs to apply, and Calgary was doing it night in and night out. Do I think Calgary will continue their surprisingly deep play, or surprisingly decent play deep into the season? No. I think it's going to die. I think the Calgary Flames are going to finish out of the playoffs, probably, if not, well out of the playoffs. In fact, you may even see Calgary in the top 5. It may happen, guys. It may happen. You've got a bunch of young kids leading this team, and a defenseman who's trying to do all the scoring. You got some goaltenders who are playing phenomenally. That's a lot of pieces to hang your hat on. It's a lot of pieces for you to expect to continue to produce at the rate that they're producing. Is Johnny Gaudreau going to continue to produce at this rate? Absolutely not. He's a young kid. I wouldn't expect it from Taylor Hall, Nugent Hopkins, Jordan Eberle. Why would I expect it from Johnny Gaudreau? It's going to wear on him eventually. It's his first NHL season. He's a young kid. He's small. He's going to get banged around. He's going to get tired. It happens to everybody. Happens to all the great players, well, except for Sidney Crosby, those type guys, Alex Ovechkin. But even they have slump seasons. And I don't think that the Calgary Flames have it right now to continue like that. They have the determination. And I think at the beginning of the season, having fresh legs and fresh bodies made it possible for them to compete like that for as long as they did. But I think now we're starting to see the real Calgary Flames. Not the real Calgary Flames. We're starting to see actually the tired Calgary Flames is what we're seeing. Not the real ones, because the real ones work hard. You've seen that. That's proven. They have what it takes to work hard. They just don't have the endurance. And they'll get there once all their guys start to age. Trust me, Calgary is in absolutely no zone that isn't safe. You know, and your coaching's top drawer, so you can't argue with that. Calgary deserves to be in the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to be there. I'm sorry. All right, moving along now. This one comes from @PJMuzz169. It says, hey, Target, wondering how you came up with Can't Stop by Tupelo Honey as your intro music. I love his use of hashtags and ats, or mentions. I love it. I love when people can do it in message, not just throwing it at the beginning or the end. Actually, I think I mentioned this before in a previous Target Talks. I could be totally wrong on that one. But the way I used it was, or the way I came across it, was the Edmonton Oilers, I think it was either last year or the year before, they did a competition where local bands or acts from wherever got to submit songs to the Edmonton Oilers to be their new theme song. And actually, Tupelo Honey was one of the bands that put their song, Can't Stop, into the hat and actually won the competition. And it was a fantastic song when I was hearing it. It really gets you pumped up if you hear the whole song. It's unbelievable. I mean, I remember there was that one game where Nail Yakupov scored that goal and did the celebration. I was so drunk by that point. I played Tupelo Honey for like 20 minutes straight at the end of the game, jumping around listening to it because it's so great. Sorry, Can't Stop. But so what I did was I emailed the band and asked them. I said, hey, look, this is what's going on. I used a couple different songs before I got to Can't Stop. And I said, hey, look, I'm wondering if you guys wouldn't mind me using your music in use specifically Can't Stop for my videos. And they said, well, as long as you're not making any money off of it, which I'm not. Well, not really, not off the song. I'm not selling the song. They said, go hard. And so I got their blessing to use their music, and the rest is history. And I know it's funny because of the fact that it was the Oilers theme song. At hockey games, at Oiler games, you'll hear the song come on the stereo, and the funniest tweets are people like saying like, "Oh, I thought I was listening to a target audience video, but then I realized it's at a hockey game," things like that. So that's why the song you hear is at the Oilers game all the time, and that's why I chose it too. So I really like the song, and I think it's really fun. Pick me up. It's not dubstep, which every friggin' person has, or something weird. You know, there's not many people that can truly embrace and enjoy rock music anymore. It's ridiculous. We've gone to this stupid pop music, 92.5, play the same songs. 92.5 is like our local fresh pop top 40 station. And because all they play is top 40, the same song repeats every 2 hours. It's like a cycle. It's ridiculous. You know, I got my iPod. I can run for like 7 days straight without repeating a song. How is it these radio stations can't come up with enough songs to last 3 hours? They only got 2 hours worth of content. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. So I like having that rock in there to drive it home. Before, I think it used a Slash song and stuff before they started to crack down on all the copyright stuff. But now I've used Can't Stop by Tupelo Honey, and they've given me the authorization to do so. And it's really worked out really well. And if they watch any of these videos, I'd really like to meet them one time and hang out with them, go to a game or something like that. But so far, no luck. Maybe you guys can push for it. Be like, Tupelo Honey, hang out with target audience. Because they are from around my area. They're from a town called St. Albert, which is just north of Edmonton, just north. Like, I drive there for dinner sometimes. It's that close. So if they want to hang out, by all means, let's grab a beer. Last question, JJ99 Hockey. Now, this question, I got to take a sip. Not because it's intense, but because we got to get to it. Everybody asked this one, and I don't know what it is. Maybe you guys can put a comment down below, because my wife and I speculate about this all the time. When will you show yourself? As in my face. Well, first off, the world's not ready for this beauty. All right, that's plain and simple. That's number one. The world's not ready for this beauty. It'll shatter your brain. What you thought beauty was will be redefined. Okay, now I've set the bar that high. It's really high now. It's way up. I can't even see it. It's in the clouds. It's like when Mario jumps up, goes flying up, and then he runs across the crowds. That's how high the bar is now. Bring it back down. Why don't I show myself? It's a tough one. One reason why, it gets people asking, why won't you show yourself? Show yourself, show yourself, show yourself. It gets interest. It also gives this like sort of mystery to me, you know? Like, you don't know who I am. I could be anywhere. I want somebody to... The only time that somebody's going to recognize me out and about is if they hear my voice. And even then, a recording of my voice is completely different from my real voice. Even when I'm playing online, people don't believe me that it's me, and I'm talking, and I've got my gamer tag as target audience, and people still don't believe that it's me. So, you'd have to hear me in public, I think, in order for you to get the voice, but maybe even not then. I just don't... I mean, maybe eventually. I gotta set a number, I think. The one thing is, if it would help me grow, I would probably, I'd still be lenient to do it. Because I see these guys doing these Let's Plays, or they're playing NHL or whatever, and they got their face going, and it looks like they're sitting in their mom's basement, lights are dim, it's like the crappiest camera ever, and I have this habit of trying to get all my all the quality really high, so I'd get like a really fancy camera, high-end camera, I'd get a green screen behind me so that I didn't have a background so that it would just fit seamlessly over the gameplay. That's the type of person that I am. When I do something, I go balls to the wall, all out, and I love to do that. So, do I know when I'll show myself? No, but maybe you guys can put some suggestions down below. Let me know. What would you guys like? Do you guys want to see my face? I'm sure you do. I don't even need to ask that question. But why? What's the draw? What's the draw to see who I am? And I'm not asking that like I'm insulted. I'm not insulted by it whatsoever. I'm legitimately interested in what the draw is in seeing who I am. Is it just because you don't have a face to put to the voice? Do you guys want to judge me? You want to judge me because I'm fat? Like, what is it? What is it? You know, and then I open it up and I say, well, you know, and then I show my face, and then you guys want to see my wife's face, and she may not want to show. And then the videos that I do with her, she doesn't necessarily want to be online, which I can totally appreciate for anybody, you know, because I'm in that boat. I don't want anybody to know what I look like. Not because I'm ugly. But I don't want to jeopardize anything that happens at work, basically. I don't think anything would actually really happen. But it's just one of those things, one of those unanswered questions that you may not like the answer to. You may not like the result. So down below, just let me know. And also, that's pretty much all the time we got here for today. Also, make sure you put in your questions, guys. And a reminder on Twitter, @TargetAud18. It's down in the left corner, for God's sake. That's my Twitter. Get on it, guys. I've got like 15, almost 16,000 subscribers and like 850 followers on Twitter. Where are you guys? Tell me you guys got some Twitter. I love tweeting. So get on there, #TargetTalks. Don't forget it. All right? So don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. If this is the first video you're watching on me, it's a miracle. Usually people start with a tutorial. But hey, if this is the first time you're watching a target audience video, this is just the talks video. This is where you talk about me and hockey. I've got other shit going on, so go ahead and check that out on my channel. I'll leave it there, though. Thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, I'm Target Audience, and I'll catch you guys out on the ice, the pitch, the gridiron, and the battlefield. Had to think for a sec. Have a good one.